Hey there, everybody. All right, we got our world here, and I think it's time. We've got enemies, we got our player, we got a ladder we can climb, or a tree. And I think we're ready to start doing some painting on the room. So, what we're going to do is make our game start to look better by adding tile sets. Okay. So we're going to go, let's take a look at the two tile sets we have. We have tile set blocks 1, tile set blocks 2. I believe in a previous tutorial, I set up the tile sets just right. One of the things you are going to want to make sure you do is that when you pull in those image files, you want to double check the tile properties here. Okay, so make sure those match up. And the idea here is in a tile set, it's the graphics you see here, and we can take one single grid or we can combine grids. And wherever we click in the room on a tile layer, you'll be able to see the tiles. The cool thing is, and this is what I love about Game Maker Studio now, is that you have multiple layers. Each layer has only one tile set, I believe. At least I haven't figured out how to add more than one, and that's okay. And then the other thing is that we can put some layers above instance layer and some below. And what this is going to allow us to do is maybe have some objects that you walk behind and then some that you're in front of. And so be careful where you put everything. One of the things you're going to notice here on the tile set is you can see there is a palm tree, big palm tree, thick one, thinner one over here. Actually, we got 5 different possible palm tree combinations. Extra fronds, vegetation. We've got this cool tree that you could use to build out a complex layer, including a tree with branches growing out to the left and the right. Definitely want to make use of that. We've got bones buried in the ground, so if we see like a cross section of the earth, we might see some stuff under it. We could have a lot of fun with this. This tile set has mostly just blocks that you're using in platforms, so this would be good for platforms and blocks. So in this tutorial, we're going to show you how to make the layers and edit them, and then talk a little bit about some strategies for how you might build it out. So without further ado, let's go to room 1, and let's add a tile set layer. So when I add it, it immediately goes on top. Now, anything that I put on this layer, because it's above instances, will actually appear to be in front of our player. So let me give you an example. I'm going to put a little palm tree, and maybe I'll stick it right here. The other thing, too, is let me grab the instance layer. In a moment, I want to show you how these blocks are a bad idea. So I'm going to take this and just drag it up here for now. All right. Okay, so we're going to paint some stuff, and then I'm going to show you a couple other things. So let me create the palm tree I was talking about. So I click on tiles 1, and we don't have a tile set yet. It immediately knows we need one. So we're going to click, and we're going to do the one that has the palm tree. So we select it. There we go. Now, here's the cool thing about the tile set. Let me drag this out a little bit more so you can kind of see everything, what we're doing. Is I can click on one of these, and you can see what it looks like there. So if I just want this one grid for whatever reason, if I click 2, you'll see both of those together. So if I want to do this palm tree, watch, I can click. What I can do is click here. Let's just put a palm tree there, and then I want this top part here. So I click, and I'm just clicking and dragging. And then when I move it over and I click, I'll see it. Let's test it out. Go ahead and run it. And we're going to have a snake coming after us pretty soon, so we've got to be careful about that. Here it comes. Here it goes. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Snake's coming. It's sometime today. I should really pause this video next time I do this. Wow, I didn't realize this would take so long, writing all these chunks and things. Oh, I died. But look, I died behind the palm tree. There you go. And see? I'm hiding. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? All right, you get the idea. All right, that's because this layer is above the instances layer. But I can't interact with it, right? So we have a ladder right here. Let's make another palm tree. And now I could theoretically use this big tree, but I'd probably want regular blocks for that. So instead, I'm going to get this. We already did this palm tree. I'll get this palm tree. A little bit more, a little less narrow. It's about the same. Click, 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 click. And then I think I might just drag up a little bit. And then I'm going to take, this was on, yeah. So I'm going to grab all of these, and then I'm going to move up here and click that. All right, now let's see the difference. So remember, that was our ladder. And I already realized I made a problem. I did a boo-boo. You'll see what I mean. When I climb up the tree, it's like I'm climbing up the backside of the tree. Okay. See that? Looks weird, right? Okay, so bad idea. Bad idea. How do you get rid of something? Well, I can click here, and I can just whoop, 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 paint it away. All right, now I'm going to click on background, create my new tile layer. Now, one thing you may want to do is rename these tiles. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to rename the layer, and we'll call it tiles, and we'll call it foreground. And this was the tile set 2, so I'm going to call it foreground 2. And then I'm going to rename this one and call it tiles background. I'm going to add it. Let's do background 2. Okay. And so we're going to use the same tile set that we used from before. All right. So we've got this one. Let's do that palm tree again. And so I click those two, and I click, and I click, and I click, and click, click, click. There we go. I don't know why it's the clicking song. I'm going to click on here, and let's go ahead and run it. Now, one of the things is that block is still visible, and if we didn't hide it, we would see it. Wait for it. Yeah, I really should pause the video whenever I do it. And, we have a problem. You see that? We can still see the block, right? But at this point, it looks like we're climbing up. Okay, and we didn't see the block before over here because we didn't have a block. So guess what we need to do? We need to go to that ladder, and we need to hide it. So I'm going to click on here. Oops, wrong one. All right, when you get this open tile set, just note here are brushes, libraries, resources. That's what we want to do, resources. Okay, so we're going to basically go to the object ladder, double click, and we're going to make it invisible. In fact, you're going to want to do it for all of the objects, like the block, for example. So I double click it, and I uncheck it, and then I go to object floor, and then I make sure the object floor is not visible either. If we don't paint our room, it's going to look funny. And here we go. See, you can't see. Now it looks a little bit, sure, he looks odd climbing the palm tree, but... Oh, we fell down. Okay. So let's keep building out our room. All right, I already talked about one thing here. So let's go. Hey, look at that. Pretty cool, huh? And I'm going to go back to tiles. And now there's a thing called brushes. I'm not even sure what that's about. Look it up. All right, I'm going to go back here to the tiles. And all right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the strategies. And at this point, I'm not going to use any of these blocks. I could. Oh, look, vines. That would be another thing that would be kind of fun to do. Anyway, so there's a lot of cool things you can do. Let's talk a little bit about adding another. Let's add another tile. I'm going to right click on here, and I'm going to duplicate that layer. And by the way, be careful about duplicating it, because guess what? If I hide background 2, I still see the palm trees. Not till I hide this one that I don't. All right, so bad idea duplicating. I'm actually going to get rid of that, so I'm going to delete the layer. But remember, this thing is still hidden, so I'm going to unhide it. So one of the things is now that we're starting to do this, we have multiple layers. Get in the habit of hiding and unhiding so you can see what goes where. Okay? And then once you have it set, you can lock it by clicking the lock. Okay? If it's locked, you can't edit it. Okay, we're back to background 2. Let's click on here, background, add another layer. We'll call it tiles background 1. And I want to show you some strategies about tile sets. And one way you can sort of build out the world. So we're going to select the tile layer. And I think I have to unlock, maybe not. Oh, I'm not selecting it. There we go. Background 1, use this one. Okay, great. Now I want to just show you all these blocks and how they look a little different. Each one. One thing you can do is you can click on one of these. Or you can even click on, say, 3. And you can go ahead and click, and click. And you see how I'm doing that? I'm kind of going out. The nice thing about this is the pattern is a little bit irregular. Oops. Now, I didn't want to do that. So I right-clicked on it. Do you see what I did? I did a right-click. There. So you go in and you paint some of these, and then what you can do is you use that one. I can take this and I can put one every now and then, make two side by side. So we're kind of going in and we're just mixing it up a bit. Over here, right, over there. So that way, what we're trying to do is make it so it doesn't just look like we're always doing the same thing. Okay, so grab a variety of different ones, mix it up. And that's my goal for you. All right, so we did that. We do have blocks here, so we should probably set that up. So you could figure out a lot of this, like how to set all this different stuff up. All right, let's talk a little bit about the platforms themselves. First of all, what I want to do is I'm going to move the snake up a little higher. Okay, and I'm going to move also the player over to the left. So part of this is just sort of deciding what goes where. And this is not something you need to watch me kind of figure out. But let me just do one little thing here because I want to show you the platform. And then I want to talk a little bit about platform layers. If you want to have one platform under another. And like notice where things are on these blocks. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to the resources. And I'm going to select the instances layer. And I want to basically click this, hold down Control. I'm sorry, Control. I was clicking Shift. Oops. Control Z. There we go. And now I can move him over here, for example. And I can take my character here, move him over. You can even drop him. So like when he begins, he just kind of falls down. And then notice the headroom. One of the reasons why we're doing the floor is because when I can put floors along here, so I get the object floor and I move it, and there's plenty of headroom for the snake. If I use the block, it would actually get stuck. So it is kind of cool that we have some of these layers here that we can do. Okay, take that, move it. I'm going to move it over somewhere else. Anyway, okay. What was I doing? Oh, yeah, add him here. Oh yeah, so I want to go back to the tile set. So I'm going to do background 1. And I want to go to the resources, the room editor. And what I want to do is grab this. So look at how many grids they are. If that's 3, notice how that fits on here. So when I move the snake, he's off-centered a little bit. Let's try this. Let's just see how well this works. I'm going to drop this here. I'm going to get one end over here. And it's going to extend a little to the side. And I'm going to take this and we'll extend a little to the side over here. And the beauty of that is that when my player stands on it, he could actually be standing. Here, I'll show you. Let's go back to the resources. And, oh yeah, I'll go to the instances layer. Note, so you see how careful you have to be? Click here. And if I put him like right, he could actually, hold on, I'm going to use, I did it again. When I hold down Control, I can slide it left and right just exactly how I want to. So like he could be standing right here, and it would look weird if he's that far off the platform, but you'll see that it actually looks a little more natural. I'm going to drag him over here. And notice how the floor got moved over part way. I'm going to make sure I take the snake, move it back here. And let's go ahead and test it out. And then you know how to draw your platforms, and you see how you can sort of offset it so it looks a little more natural when it's animated. Let's go ahead and run it. And then we're going to talk about clouds, a couple other objects, and then I think we'll wrap it up for here because there's a lot you can look at. And you can see how that works on there. Oh, I died. I did it again. Okay. So you remember I was telling you about, see, he kind of looks like he's hanging off the edge. So that can be a bit of a problem. That looks a little weird. So let's do that. Let's clean it up just a bit. And then we'll talk about one last thing. I'm going to take the snake, move it up for a little bit. I want to take these platforms. And I want to move them so they're like this. All right, see how that platform goes over here? Oh wait, I didn't want that. He kind of stuck off to the side. Let's do this. I'm gonna, hold on. Add one more block here. And then let's extend this just a little bit on our tile set. So I click on there, I go back to the room editor, and what I want to do is add these here, like so, add these there, like so, and let's test that out one more time. So I go to instances, bring snake down. Actually, I'm going to even pull them off so we can just test that layer. So I'm going to get on there right away. I want to get on the platform and out of harm's way. There we go. See that? Looks a little more natural now. Yeah. So I can stand there. Any much further, I just go to the right a little and he drops down. So keep that in mind when you're doing the platform. Let him extend out a little bit because it's because the origin is dead center under the character. So he can get a collision over here and over here. So you see how we did that? So that's definitely something you're going to want to do. Let's paint some clouds because that can be a lot of fun. So you go over here. You want to grab full set of clouds. I love these clouds. They totally remind me of Monty Python's Flying Circus. And, oh, what's his name? Used to make these. Also, this could be really cool if you have these objects that sort of move across. That could be kind of fun too. So there's clouds on that one. If you go to background 2, no clouds there. Okay. Actually, I don't know that for a fact. There is a cloud. I thought there was. Let's add another cloud. We got puffy clouds. Let's go ahead and test it out. See what it looks like without all the grids. And then you'd want to fill it out more than that. Anyway, so I think I've covered all the main ideas about this. A little bit later, we'll add hints and do some other things in a later tutorial. But we pretty much run out of time. So at this point, I'd like to just kind of leave you and just take some time to sort of explore and see what you can come up with in creating your world. In the next tutorial, we're going to cover what happens when we go here. We're going to add some dangerous spiky things. And then we'll talk about adding some hints and going to the next room. How do you manage going from room to room to room? All right, so we get over here and we're stuck. All right, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching.